Okay, guys, this episode isn't so much about a car. Well, it kind of is, but it's a car story anyway. Um, I went to a car show the other day, and it was about 50 degrees in the morning. It was for South Florida. That was rather cool. And I pulled up into the lot, and I went to open the door, and it just it made this. It hasn't probably done it in 40 years, but it made this loud pop. When you know what I'm talking about, when that door stop and your hinge gets dry, and on a cold day you open that door and you hear that loud pop. Well, that's what happened, and it surprised me because the old girl doesn't usually have any issues. I pretty much stay on top of the issues. Now, what it was, and you all know what it is if you're a car guy and you've been dealing with antiques and old cars. It was that door hinge, that gate stop, that two-stage stopper that has a little roller in it, and I'll show you a video here. Well, of course it's not going to do it now. It's 89 degrees outside here in South Florida. It only does it on cold days. You guys get the idea. When I got out, another guy that was at the car show heard that pop, and he looked over at me and he said, "You better give it a shot at WD-40. And I thought, no, that's not what you use. I mean, you can, and it's temporary. And there are some people that will say that it could be detrimental to that particular application over the long run. But, if you're not planning to keep the car 100 years, then use WD-40. I plan to keep my cars a long time. And so back in the 1940s, there was a product that was developed, and it was called White Lithium Grease. And in the 50s, my grandfather had he had a bunch of cars, but he had a Cadillac, just like I do. His was a 53. And he showed me a product. And I would recommend this product to anybody who has an antique car, or an old car, or a new car, who wants a very stable product. Anyway, my grandfather left me. I've had this since the early 70s in my garage, and it's a can, or it's a little a rubber, it's like a Tupperware paint, an old paint cup with a sealing lid on it. And this is his handwriting: white grease. White lithium grease. It was invented in the 40s, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me down in the comments. And if you want to have a product that's long-lasting, it's a very good lubricant and non-corrosive, and has a lot of properties that just WD-40 just doesn't have. You could just Google it. White lithium grease. It's lithium salt grease, so to speak. This is probably a variant, probably has less salt in it, but I don't know. I've been using it on cars since the early 70s, believe it or not. And so this brings me back to the Cadillac at the car show the other day. I didn't say anything to the guy. I didn't want to hurt his feelings, but immediately my mind went to, no, don't use WD-40. Pull out the old white grease. And so while I was at it, I'll show you a little video here. While I was at it, I decided to go ahead and touch up some other little contentious areas on the old Caddy to, stop the squeaks, rattles, and that kind of stuff. And if you're into it, I'm sure they still sell it. It lasts forever if you go get you a tube of it at your auto parts store or whatever. White grease. Anyway, see that little shop towel down there in the corner, that red towel down in the door, so you can see where I'm heading. I'm going down here like this, and I'm going to look at this thing right here. Mechanism that stops the door in different spots. It's got a, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a couple of ridges. And that pivot, that hinge pivots and it stops and catches this little roller. Let me see if I can get it there. Well, there's a little roller. There you go. And it pivots, and this thing stops on it. So let's show you something here. Okay, once you get it smeared in there and you feel good, like you got enough in there, you want to work that door back and forth a few times. Get it soaked into that roller and into that hinge and on that two-stage track. Since you got the grease out, you may as well do some other areas on your car. Anyway, that's the story for the episode today. It's not so much about a car, it's about my grandfather and I working on cars together when I was a kid, just before he passed away. I had just gotten to the age where he, could get me out in the garage and show me some stuff. He's the guy that showed me how to check the oil, check the tires, basic stuff. And I miss him. And I still have a part of him right here in this little can. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're into it and you like the story, or if you got anything at all from the video, please consider hitting that thumbs up button, subscribing for future updates, and ticking that little bell. Thank you so much. This has been Car Chronicles, and my name is Mooney. God bless.